There's this part of davening that we say, and I wrote it behind on the board behind me. So it says, Emes v'mitzrayim ge'altonu Hashem Elokeinu. True Hashem, you took us out of Egypt. Mibeis avodi pedisonu, and you released us from a home of slaves. Kol b'cherei marakta, you killed all their firstborns. U'b'chorecha Yisrael go'alto, and you saved all the firstborns of ours. Now, what does this make you feel when you say this part of davening? Do you have any feelings when you say it? What do you think? When do we say it? You know when we say it? When? I didn't hear. Yeah, exactly. Right before Shemoneh Esrei. As was saying, that's how we say it. So what it means is, right? True Hashem, you took us out of Egypt and released us from a home of bondage. That's Mitzrayim. And you killed their firstborn and you saved our firstborn. How does it make you feel? Did you feel anything when you say that? Feel something, come on. Anyone? What? It doesn't mean anything to you? You don't know the translation? Okay, so I'm telling you in English. In general, it's a good idea to learn what the words of davening mean. True Hashem, you took us out, you redeemed us from Egypt. You took us out of a house of bondage. You killed their firstborn, and you saved the firstborn of the Jews. As Rosav is saying, right before Shemoneh Esrei, every single morning, that's the part of davening you say. Now I ask you the question, what does it mean? What does it make you feel? When I tell you, remember the story that Hashem took us out of Egypt by killing the firstborn of the Egyptians? Remember that? So now you say it every morning. And let's say you're actually concentrating and you're actually, trying to feel something. What do you feel by it? What? How does it apply now? No, but how do you feel? Are you saying you feel it's irrelevant? If I tell you, Hashem took us out of Egypt, out of the home of bondage. Where? Weird? Oh, okay. That's interesting. I feel weird that Hashem killed people. People who wanted to murder you. Yeah. They were enslaving us, they were bathing in our blood. And he saved them. Bunch of Nazis they were, those Egyptians. You still upset they were killed? Yeah, but what does it make you feel that Hashem took you out of Mitzrayim? What?
Proud.
Yeah, proud, maybe. I don't know. I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking for the truth. What do you feel? Yeah.
I was going to say
proud. But what? Cared about. Okay. Grateful. Now, does anyone actually feel those feelings of proud, grateful, and in the morning?
I think deep into it, I think about what it is about Mitzrayim and question Mitzrayim, then yes.
Again, this is not a theoretical conversation. I'm asking you, when you daven in the morning, do you think deep into it or not? What do you think about when you say it in the morning? So basically, you're saying, what does it make you feel? Most of the time, totally ambivalent.
If you're not thinking about it, then you're just
right. But let's say you are thinking about it, and you're thinking about that Hashem took us out. What?
We are thinking theoretically now.
Right. It feels.
About it, then you'll feel a little bit.
What?
If you aren't thinking about the words, then you could feel that.
Feel what?
All those things. Proud.
Right. So you feel proud that Hashem took us out of Egypt and very thankful. But would you agree with me that somewhere in the back of your mind, you're also going to feel what I said before, irrelevant? Meaning, is this real or not? So Hashem, of course, he took us out of Egypt. It's amazing. But God, I got problems now. So you're saying that let's think about Mitzrayim and getting out of Mitzrayim now. Yeah, that's step one. If you want to really make it relevant, let's get this straight. None of this stuff is archaic. It's not history. We don't daven for history. It's true. It happened historically. It's absolutely true. But this is not a lesson or a tefillah on anti-Semitism and on national pride and on, continuity of the Jewish people, etc., etc. No, that's not what it's about. It feels to me, when I say it, like I want to cry out, Am Yisrael Chai. That's what it feels like. Like, wow, the nation of people of Israel are alive. Hashem took us out of Egypt. He's always there with us. It feels like a sense of national pride. Here's the problem. National pride, whilst it's true, it is absolutely that. For me, on a regular day, right? I'm not talking about, I'm sure that kind of fit is relevant. If I was sitting in 1942, living in Hungary, in Poland, I might be thinking to myself, wow, yeah, Hashem saved us and he will save us. But I'm sitting in Tafshin Pei Beis in 5782, and I want to feel the relevance in my life now. What's the relevance now and here and in this spot? So you're saying Mitzrayim is? Mitzrayim. So let's retranslate that. Mitzrayim is your limitations. So true, Hashem, you took us out of our limitations and you took us out of a home of slaves. Now it feels relevant? Does it?
It would take more than just that, and take applying it to my personal Mitzrayim and where I've grown and where I still have yet to grow. And
right. Maybe it has to do with actually successfully making a change in me. What if it's a conversation about how do I make a change inside my own self? What do I need to do to make a change in me? How do I actually change? Here's the story. The story goes that in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, the Jews were unable to escape. No slave ever escaped Mitzrayim. Ever. Never was there a story of a slave escaping Mitzrayim. Why do you think no slave was able to escape Mitzrayim? Not one slave. I mean, these guys they weren't exactly, abolitionists. They believe in slavery very much so. And there must have been, just in the Jews, there were millions of slaves. There must have been like many millions, scores, hundreds of millions, maybe over many decades and centuries. And Mitzrayim was around. Nowhere to go, but not one slave successfully escaped? Never?
They tried.
Why? But one slave would escape, come on.
Why would we try to escape?
The reason why no slave was able to escape, maybe that's what you mean by why would he try to escape. The reason why no slave was able to escape is because the Mitzrayim had a spell on the slaves. It wasn't just a physical bondage. It wasn't just you were surrounded by walls. It was that they successfully turned a slave into a slave. Almost like saying, why can't a cow become a human being? Why does it have to be a cow all the time? So we think of humans as humans. So a slave is just a human being who happens to be in bondage. The Mitzrayim were able to turn a slave into a slave, meaning that there was a fundamental difference between a slave and a free man. And so the spell was on a slave. Does that sound like real? How they put a spell on a slave? But what if we could discover that the Mitzrayim is where we are, and the Mitzrayim have put a spell on us? And what if we discover that the reason we can't escape bondage is because the Mitzrayim have a spell on you and me now?
But that would mean Hashem never actually took us out.
We what?
That would mean Hashem never actually took us out.
And the only way to escape that spell is by Hashem taking you out.
But
Only Hashem can overcome the spell of the Mitzrayim. Only God can get you out of Mitzrayim. What would that mean? You're in Mitzrayim and there's no way to get out of your Mitzrayim. Why could you not escape? Now, right now, see, it's very fascinating. Because is anyone here actually a slave? Is there anyone or anything in the world that's blocking you from self-determination, from being yourself? Isn't it true that right now we live in an absolute democracy in the sense that as long as you don't hurt someone else, you are free to do whatever you so desire. Is that not true? Right? And that being the case, do you ever feel like you're in Mitzrayim? You're in bondage? Let's define what that means to be in bondage.
Because we make ourselves feel that way.
We make ourselves feel like we're in bondage. You ever feel like I'm locked up in a feeling that I don't like? I don't want to be in this place. And sometimes it's fascinating to see how we can feel like we literally, like we're locked up. And you're locked up usually in feelings. Yes. And they box us up and they bind us and they block us and prevent us from escaping. Yeah? But why can't you escape? I don't get it. What's the problem? Just don't feel that way, right? Imagine someone's an addict. So he's addicted. Is there anything blocking you? No. Any reason why you're an addict? You could just decide whenever you want, don't go for your addiction. And somehow you're in Mitzrayim and you can't get out. These verses in the davening are out to show us how you and I, can get out of bondage. It's the process of how to get out of bondage. It's telling you how to get out of your inner bondage. Practically. Want to know how? Well, what's the story? How did the Jews escape Egypt? What ended up happening? What was the moment of escape? Question mark. Remember? What point did they actually get out of Mitzrayim? We were working our way towards that moment. And there was one moment, one pivotal moment, when Paroi, the king of Mitzrayim, says, go out. Until that point, he says go, but didn't really mean it. Yeah, go. At one point, he says, just go. And then he meant it. What was that point? Makas B'cheres, when the firstborn was slain. So it's a whole process to get to the point you can kill the firstborn. But when do you get out of Mitzrayim? When you can kill the firstborn. So what does it say? Emes, Mitzrayim Ge'alton Hashem Elokeinu, the base of Adam Pedisanu. You redeemed us from Mitzrayim, and you saved us, released us from a home of slaves. Kol b'chayreyem horagto. You killed their firstborn of V'chaycha Yisrael Goalta. And if you and I want to get out of our inner bondage, what we want to do is kill the firstborn of the Egyptians. Mitzrayim has a firstborn. And the second you succeed in killing him, in destroying the firstborn, that's the moment of your redemption. What does it mean to kill the firstborn of the Egyptians? What does it mean, the firstborn of Mitzrayim? So Mitzrayim is a state of mind, right? Of limitations. There's a Bechor to Mitzrayim. A Bechor means a firstborn. Is anyone here a firstborn? What's the difference between a firstborn and everyone else in the family? Responsibility, right? Isn't it true that in a certain sense, you notice that the firstborn, it's not like you can't generalize always, but for the most part, many parts, the firstborn actually cares about the parents and very often the rest of the siblings. I'm not saying others don't care, but I'm saying there's some responsibility in the firstborn more than anybody else. True or not? Well, you don't care. I'm not a firstborn. And I care about all my siblings. I care about my parents very, very much. But we talk every day. But if I compare myself to my older brother, I'm number 2. It's day and night. His caring is it's beyond incredible. Like still today, everyone's already married and older and has kids and he's like, he he actually calls everyone to see how they're doing. He actually cares. And when something's wrong, he actually cares. He doesn't just say he cares, he actually cares. And parent-wise, he's just the Bechor Noitel Pishnayim. Bechor gets double, literally, you see it. He actually gets double what everyone else gets in terms of how much he cares. Amazing. Figuratively, the Bechor, the firstborn, is the foundation behind the family. So the Bechor of Mitzrayim is the foundation behind Mitzrayim. What keeps you locked up in a state of bondage and Mitzrayim? The answer is a Bechor. A Bechor is what's the foundation behind what makes you tick. You will be in Mitzrayim forever and ever. You will never get out of your inner bondage until the day you don't discover who is the Bechor. What's the firstborn of your Mitzrayim? What's the point behind your Mitzrayim? Meaning, I feel anxiety. Why do I feel anxiety? It's because I have a particular perspective, a particular way of thinking that locks me up into my bondage. And because I think a certain way, no matter what happens, no slave was ever able to get out of Mitzrayim. You just can't escape the inner bondage. It's just there and you're stuck. Oh man, oh yeah. You can't get out of it. How do you escape your inner Mitzrayim? How do you get out of it? Kill the Bechor and release the Jewish Bechor. So, I really appreciate what was sent to me in the assignment. And, I got some emails. I'd love more. Tell me what you learned, what you didn't learn, what you're working on, etc. Very nice. Email me. And so somebody wrote to this effect that I really, really appreciate. I learned so much about davening and about bitachon in this class. And what she wrote was, I learned that bitachon, that trusting Hashem, is real. And if you let go and you are ready to discover what Hashem wants, then your life will be much better. And that's what davening is. And it's amazing to see that davening and bitachon come as one. That when you let Hashem run your life becomes a whole different world. And I want to just tweak that because there's one thing about that needs to be switched. It's not about you aligning yourself with what Hashem wants and thereby giving up on what you want. The Bechor of Yisrael, the Yesod, the foundation behind what it means to be a Yisrael, to be a Jew, is God. Is that God runs everything. That's the foundation. That's the Bechor of being a Jew, that Hashem, Emunah, runs everything, right? And Emunah is very challenging to come by. But see, we don't allow Emunah to rule us and to dominate us. We don't allow Emunah to be the foundation of who we are. Why not? Because we don't believe that Emunah can actually do anything. We don't believe that Emunah and Bitachon, trust in Hashem, actually has any sense of being able to accomplish anything. The second you're able to flip the mode, and the Bechor of Mitzrayim takes the back seat, and the Bechor of Yisrael takes the front seat, that's the moment that Paroi says, you're out of Mitzrayim, I cannot hold you. That's the spell. There is a spell on you, and you're not able to get out of Mitzrayim so long as you're in that spell. Let me give you a little example. There's a couple who's married for many years already, and they have a lot of kids. Some are older, some are younger. And this couple went through a very challenging time. It had to do with some fault of the guy. And he had a certain addiction. And, he really, really tried over the years. And every so often it would surface and it would just go so bad. And they married for many years. But at some point, it hit the ceiling. And at that point, it was one defining moment. And she was all the time receiving from him. And she was like in prison. She actually couldn't get out of it, especially with having a beautiful family. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful family. They have 5 kids, like really, really good kids. And you can't tell anything on the outside. It looks like a beautiful, incredible, gorgeous situation. And then they fell into this abyss. They fell into this rock bottom. And essentially she kicked him out. But nobody knows. So she kicked him out, but he's still living in the house. So they have this house and whatever, and they're in different rooms. And obviously the kids figured that one out very quickly, but they're trying to, hide it. In the meantime, the goal is to work on the marriage. That's the goal. So anyway, what happened was the guy assumed immediate acceptance of responsibility. He took upon himself, he's like, it's all me, my fault. He accepted it, which was amazing. And as a result, he went to therapy and he's working on himself for about 1.5 years now. Really, really, really working. And he's telling me, he says, all I want is I'm yearning and chalishing just to get back to what I had before, which was the most beautiful, unbelievable life. I don't need anything else. The ability to be with family around the table, Shabbos table, that incredible scene of just having everyone together, and just that warmth and love. And I'm lacking, and I can't take it. I'm going crazy. And he says, every time I call my wife, when I talk to her about it, and I ask her about it, I say to her, let's just get back together. You see how I'm working on myself for so long. And it's been already 18 months. It's crazy. Let's just get back together. And she just, every time, she says, I'm petrified of what's going to happen. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. But you know what? I can't do it. So she went to a therapist, started working on escape from the marriage. How do I feel confident enough to leave? And he's begging her. It's like, but I love you and you still love me. So why are we doing this? And the conversation goes on and on. So anyway, the guy came over to me. We had a whole chat. I asked him a question. Do you see how this guy's in Mitzrayim? Yeah? What's his Mitzrayim? What's his limitation? What would you say? Loneliness? Because he left, right? The moment he realized that it was him, so he left. So he's not allowed into her life, kind of thing. So he's out. So he feels ashamed, guilty. And he's working on himself, got out of the addiction. That's what's amazing about it. Got out of the addiction. In other words, when he had everything, he was an addict. The moment he escaped and got out of it, he lost everything. Well, he lost everything, then he got out of it. He hit a rock bottom, yeah?
Do you think his limitation is trying to get it back to what it was?
What do you mean?
Because he's never going to get back to what it was.
So what would you say? What's the limitation?
And what it was is what created his limitation is what he's yearning for.
What's he yearning for?
What he used to be.
So what's limiting him? What's blocking him? What do you want? What should he get out of to get out of
He's
himself?
not looking for something that's part of the past, not looking forward to something.
He's looking for something that's in the past. What would you say he should do?
Create
What?
something new. Yes, so leave his past.
How? Great. Leave your past. How? Let's analyze what you're saying, right? The Mitzrayim that he's in it's a space, it's a dark space. It's a dungeon. Amazing. He's in a free country, do whatever he wants, free space, but he is in a dark, depressing dungeon. You can only imagine what he thinks about at night when he's all by himself. I caused this to happen. Why did I do this? Why couldn't it just be a mensch? He knows it was him. He is the fault of all his problems. And it's like so depressing. So you feel depressed, sad, worried, anxious, scared, lonely. And he doesn't know how to do it. And then he calls her up and he asks her, come on, I'm doing you. See, I'm working so hard. Allow me back, take me back. And you're also scared. So why are you doing this? And it's not going. Why is it not going? you want to know why? Because there's a spell that the Mitzrayim have on every single slave. There's a spell that you can never escape Mitzrayim. They will never allow you out of Mitzrayim. Why? Because Mitzrayim locks you up into a perspective. And it prevents you from ever changing out of that perspective. And you're stuck. What's the perspective? In order to get out of Mitzrayim, it's hard work. It takes 10 makos, 10 plagues. But the ultimate, let's focus on that, is getting the Bechor, understanding what's the perspective, what's behind it. So I said to this guy, I said, look, what do you want again? Like you guys are saying, right? I want to be back to what I had. That's amazing. I don't think that's a Mitzrayim. I think that's amazing. How are you getting there? What has to happen? Answer is, what's blocking? What's the one thing that has to happen in his life? What? In order for him, I asked him, in order for you to feel amazing and great and incredible and alive again, what has to happen? What's the answer? What? His wife has to accept him. Another human being has to accept him. In his mind, that's the answer. Another human being. Not so much about accept himself. That's more of a psychology. How about, let's talk about God. Your wife cannot help you because she's also in her own bondage, her own shame, her own guilt, her own fears, her own anxieties. She can't get you out because she is herself locked up. She doesn't know why she's not able to reach out to you. She doesn't have a clue why not. She's scared too. You want to get out of your Mitzrayim? You want to escape your Mitzrayim? Kill the Bechor. And he's like, you mean I shouldn't want to get my wife back? I should want to get divorced? Like sometimes I threaten her. I say, listen, you want to get divorced? And she's like, if I wanted to get divorced, I would just push and right away I could have done it. Clearly, I don't want to get divorced, but not now. I want to get divorced later. He's like, let's get divorced now. Okay. I'm scared to say those words. Let's get divorced now because then it'll be over. But that's where it's going to. What would happen if you would kill the Bechor, the firstborn of your Mitzrayim? Want to know how you kill him? You know what, Hashem? What's the worst case scenario? What could happen that's the worst thing in the world? He's like, she says, I want to get. And she gets divorced. And then what's happening to you? He's like, and then I will be a ruined wreck. I will feel devastated. My world will fall apart. I will feel humiliated. I would feel absolute loneliness. I would feel totally dead, is what he described. And that's to put it mildly. It would be the most depressing spot I could ever be in. That's how I would feel. I would feel suicidal. I'm like, okay. And then? He's like, and then? Doesn't that sound bad enough to you? No. It sounds like that if you get to that spot, that worst possible spot, it sounds like Hashem will still take care of you. I don't dream that on any of my worst enemies, but it doesn't sound to me like you'll be dead. It sounds like God will help you no matter what. Why don't you try this? Kill the Bechor of Mitzrayim. Kill the firstborn. Close your eyes. Sit down. And ponder and imagine and feel the worst feeling ever. Remember we spoke about this last time? Right? Told you I was about to make a call and this guy wants to shut us down. Shut down the whole yeshiva that'll be opening. The guy's calling all the donors to tell them to close down the yeshiva and I'm like feeling, oh my gosh. So what do? I sit myself down and I let the feelings just go through me. I don't want to get on a call whilst I'm anxious. Because if I hop on a call whilst I'm anxious, what happens is I'm going to communicate an energy of anxiety to the other person. So the other guy is going to feel that I'm scared. And the likelihood is the conversation will end up something like this. You dare shut down a yeshiva? How dare you? In communist Russia, they did that. How dare a Jew shut down a yeshiva? What's he going to respond? Are you calling me a communist? You're calling me, I'm telling you now. I mean, the nicest guy I know, I'm telling you now, don't open it. It's not legal. Why are you doing this? That conversation will get to clashing and friction and go nowhere. But if I felt the worst possible case beforehand, I felt yeshiva was closed down, shut down, and the police come and they're locking up everything, every room and they're boarding it up and, getting up and putting big signs, nobody's ever allowed here. And all the parents are screaming at me that the yeshiva was shut down. And I'm like, this is bad. Yeah. How do I feel? And when I feel that, my anxiety was on a high and my heart was pumping like crazy. And I feel that again and again and again. By the time I got to the phone call, I was like, the anxiety was gone. Because I let it run through without judging it. Got it, gone. Told this guy, if you sit down and you let the feeling straight through you, let it go. Let the feeling go. Meaning sit there and just feel how terrible this is. Because your whole problem is, the reason Mitzrayim has you under its spell is because you are worried that if this happens, my life is finished. And therefore, everything you're doing is trying to get her back. You're saying, please don't make this happen, please. His whole life, can you see? His whole life, he's running around this point, asking his wife to please not do this terrible thing to me. But what if you accepted that the terrible thing is from Hashem? Hashem did it to you. Now you no longer have the fear of her. She can't do anything to you. So he sat down and he felt it. It took a long time, by the way, because it took weeks of everything. He didn't understand what I was talking about. And he kept on going back to the same space of asking her, please take me back. And every conversation like that ended in such a bad space. Because every time he said to her, why can't you just accept? Okay, I did something wrong. You see how I've worked on myself for so long. Nothing worked. Until he sat down and didn't feel. I lost it. It took him a time and again and again and again and again and again to let go. And when he let go, you know what he realized? He realized, I'm not in my wife's hands. Whose hands am I in? Hashem. That's when the change happened. See, what was ruling him, what was allowing him to be, what was controlling him, if you will, was this need that my wife should accept me back. That's what we all have. We all have this space whereby you believe. And if something happens, then you'll be happy, right? So whatever your desires are, if I find the right shidduch and I get married, then my life will be perfect. If he'll be the perfect guy, and if I have the perfect children, then I'll be happy. If I have this and this, then I'll be happy. And then you're scared because you're controlled by that. You're controlled by a thing. It's a holy thing. It's a very nice thing, but it's a thing. Don't allow anything to control you. Allow Hashem to control you. And how do you do that? Accept that no matter what happens, accept the worst feeling ever, the feeling. Even if I have it, Hashem, it's fine. You gave me this bad feeling. It's you. It's all you. And therefore, I accept it. Watch what happens when you accept the feeling. What happens? I accept. I could be an older single and never get married, and I'll be fine. Why am I fine? Because that's what Hashem wants. I'll be fine. What does it mean I'll be fine? I won't be fine. Feel the pain of what that would mean. Let it go through you again and again. And then what do you go? Come to Hashem and say, Hashem, I'm allowing your Bechor into my life. What's Hashem's Bechor? Hashem's way of thinking is, I, God, I take care of you. I, Hashem, take care of you. No thing will ever give you what you want. Only Almighty God. So you turn to Hashem and you say, I'm in your hands. Totally. You can only say that for real when you go through all the makkahs. You have to smack up your Mitzrayim again and again and again, plague after plague, kill them. Till you kill the Bechor of Mitzrayim. What does it mean to kill the Bechor? I don't need that thing to make me happy. I'm happy in this present moment. How do you become happy in this present moment? If you allow Hashem, what do I want to be? I want to be free. I want to be a person who's just happy. I told this guy, when you get your wife back and you're around the Shabbos table, how will you feel? He said, I feel so good. I'll feel alive was the word he used. I said, good. So feel alive now. Because you are alive. Watch. How do you do that? You wake up in the morning, and what does it say in Eicho? Chadoshim la bekorim rabbo yamunosecho. Waking up in the morning every moment. You look, Hashem made night, and then He made day. And you wake up in the morning, you look around at the morning, you're like, wow, a new morning is so much emunah. Look at the morning and see emunah. And you say, but I got problems. Allow Hashem's firstborn. And Hashem is taking care of you every single moment. Allow that to dominate you. See, we live in the thing, we start thinking to ourselves that if I have bitachon, I want to align myself with what Hashem wants. That's what whoever wrote to me. That Hashem, I have to align myself with what you want. That's true. That's the Bechor of Hashem. And when you align yourself with what Hashem wants, you get what you want. This guy did the most amazing thing in the world. It took weeks, probably even a couple months. And after a long time of doing it again and again, he let go. Then he came back to his wife with a different energy. And when he spoke to her, he kept on telling her how much he wants her back. But he didn't show her that he needs her back. He showed her that Hashem is with me whichever way this goes. Thank you, Hashem. New presence, great. Hard work. And every time he felt the loneliness, he's like, Hashem, I feel it. I'm going to kill the Mitzrayim. If I don't get it, it's fine. And allow the bitachon to rule in me. In other words, I'm allowing whatever Hashem wants. If you want that, fine. Whatever you want. As soon as he allowed that to happen, the energy shifted. It was amazing because he just became a guy who was a light. The whole time he was sitting in a dark space. That darkness is Mitzrayim. The second you allow God's presence into you, you become a flame. You light up. So what appears to be is, have bitachon. That's how you light your life up, yes.
What if it's a different situation than let's say?
Just raise the volume.
What?
Volume.
Oh, what if you're dealing, like, let's say this man is at the point where he's still trying to get over his addiction? How would you apply that?
It's the same, it's a different conversation, but the same thing if he has the addiction still, right? How do you get out of your addiction? You have a certain, addiction is another Mitzrayim. You have a certain perspective. It's all, being addicted is the Mitzrayim, right? He's addicted right now to the fact that he needs her. Before he was addicted to something else. He was addicted to whatever he was addicted to. If you're addicted to alcohol, so then how do you get out of your Mitzrayim? Because you're saying to yourself the whole time, I'm sad, I'm down. If I get the alcohol, I'll feel good, right? So it's all about a sense of letting go. Let me just finish. When you get out of the Mitzrayim, the second he did it, his energy changed, the whole thing shifted. And she felt that energy. And that's when the marriage came back together. Because she didn't know why she didn't want him. She had no idea. The reason was because we're attracted, there's a third partner in the marriage, right? Hashem. She was attracted to the divine force in him. We all want to feel Hashem in our lives. So when we daven, here's what we do. True Hashem, Mitzrayim Ge'altonu Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem, you, Hashem Elokeinu, that's how. Mitzrayim Ge'altonu, how do you escape your Mitzrayim? Hashem Elokeinu, when Hashem becomes your God. Of course we believe in Hashem. Yeah, we believe in Hashem, but do you actually feel Hashem? Meaning, if the worst possible thing happens, will I be okay? And then can I accept that only Hashem can make it good? The second you get to Hashem Elokeinu, that's the moment that you're no longer in the spell of Mibes Avodim Pedisonu. You escape the bondage. And then what happens? It's called B'cherei Maragto. You kill the Bechor. You kill the Bechor. You kill the point behind Mitzrayim. And then U'v'chor Yisrael Go'alto. You allow your firstborn to come out. So that's really a message we learned in davening. Try it out. And what's davening about? It's about your ability to allow Hashem's presence to take over. And then U'v'chor Yisrael Go'alto. So I want to wish you all